Hello there, Taurus. It's really good to see you again. Welcome to your September reading. I hope that this month is getting off to a great start for everybody. To all of my returning viewers, I would like to give a nice warm welcome back. Thank you so much for the support you've been giving me over the past several years. This is very much a viewer-supported channel, so it's the enthusiasm that you have for continuing your own development and also your enthusiasm for coming back and supporting me that makes it so worthwhile every month. So I just like to say I appreciate that. If you're brand new, I'd also like to give you a warm welcome and introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and every month I take a really deep dive into all of the intuitive information coming through for all 12 signs. Here's how I set up the forecast every month. I like to begin with channeled information at the very beginning. I love this part. This is just where I'm connecting with spirit, with source, and whatever I see, feel, or intuit, I share that with you. After that, I clarify it by looking at a Celtic cross. And then I expand the forecast afterwards to include health, wealth, love, and destiny. Everything that you see here can be used for your sun, your rising, and your moon sign. It can also be used for people that you love in your life. And if you don't happen to know all of that information about your chart, just stick with your birth sign and you'll get all the information that you need simply by doing that. If after watching what you see here, you really enjoyed it and you would like to support me, there's a lot of ways you can do that. If you stick around until the very end, I'll get into that in great depth. Just a quick highlight that can include anything from liking and subscribing to joining me on social media, booking an appointment, or even doing a contribution, whether it's one time or sustaining. I'll give all kinds of information at the end and let you know how I use that and why it makes a difference. But for now, I want to get straight into your channeled information because there's a lot of information that I need to share with you. So let's go ahead and talk about what you need to focus on in the month of September. This month, as I meditated on your cards and began to tune into the energy of your sign, the first thing that I felt was something kind of pulling at my body. It was almost as if I was being stretched into two different directions. And I felt that for some of you, this could be coming from perhaps overcommitting your time or being torn between sort of two situations where there isn't a clear path. You know, if it were a tarot card, it could be the Two of Swords, because a lot of times this shows that there is an internal struggle. The struggle could be stemming from a feeling of obligation, because I think some of you have already made a decision and it's sort of like your heart, your soul, your energy is pulling you towards your future, but there's something because either a friend, a family member, or just some sort of external pressure has made you feel like, no, I have to stay here because that's what's expected of me. So your heart is always going to kind of win out in these things, and eventually you're going to have to go down that path. I think this month it's important to have kind of a really heart-to-heart talk with your own self, your higher self, and then with the person or people with whom some of you might be feeling this sort of tug of war, like you need to go into another direction. Because think of a rubber band. At a certain point it snaps, and for some of you this could indicate like an argument or perhaps just external forces that feel like they're weighing you down or stretching you too thin. So you have a chance this month to somehow alleviate that pressure, avert any sort of argument or tension, and really allow yourself to move forward. Now, in addition to what I was feeling with, the sort of being pulled at two different directions, or that Two of Swords card, I also saw sort of like a crosshair. It was at this point that I wrote down redirect and focus. And I think for many of you, if you've overcommitted yourself, if you're feeling like you're kind of at that crossroads and you don't know what to do, this is a month where I'd like you to pick one thing, two things max, that you really want to see some sort of forward momentum, some sort of progress in, and allow for that to be your central focus this month. Everything else is going to sort of fall in priority underneath that, and you're going to be able to juggle accordingly. This is going to give you that elasticity back in your life. You're going to feel like you can stretch and pull a little bit on one thing rather than trying to please everybody. You're going to set up better expectations in the future so that people aren't constantly sort of testing your limits and maybe overutilizing or taking advantage of your kindness and generosity. You're going to pick and choose moments when you decide to go above and beyond like that. This month it feels like there's some developmental opportunities and some growth opportunities for yourself, not to mention some self-care that's going to be necessary to really set up this last part of the year in a place where you can be successful, you can accomplish your goals, and really you're going to understand that less is definitely more when you put more quality into it. And when you understand that if you overcommit, if you try to make everyone happy, you usually do the reverse. You end up yourself kind of feeling just tired. Everyone around you understands on an intuitive level that you've overcommitted, and it doesn't put you in a great spotlight for being a leader or being in control of your time and your energy. So reduce your scope, reduce your focus, redirect your energy, and also for some of you, just change the area that you're working or sleeping in and see if that doesn't also help, because I feel like there's something environmentally for many of you that is also causing some of that noise or lack of focus or concentration. So changing things up a little bit, pushing back on trying to do everything for everyone and selecting one or two things, it's really going to help you feel better. Notice if by the middle or the end of the month, you don't have this sense of accomplishment. And hopefully, I feel like some of you are going to avoid getting sick, having an argument, and also feeling that sense of why isn't anything happening? It's because you have to do a little bit less, but do what you are focusing on a lot better. And that's your message this month. And again, take care of yourself, because that stretching that I felt can also show that for some of you, the immune system that you have could be stretched out a little bit, which puts you at a higher risk for getting a cold, a flu, or just feeling tired and not having the vitality that you need. And I want all of us to feel like we have the energy, the focus, and the intuitive guidance every single month that we need to get stuff done. So hopefully this message resonates with you and you take care of yourself, okay? Let's go ahead now and look at the cards themselves to see what additional messages come through. At this point, I typically remain quiet because just like you, I want to see the cards, their placements, and I receive information while I'm doing that as well. Afterwards, I'll pull each card up and I'll talk about it and relate it to all the messages for the month ahead. In your catalyst card this month, we have the Peacock. And of course, when we're looking at a catalyst, this is what connects everything together. It's also how you can access the best possible outcome or the highest energy of the month. Given the bold nature of the bird, the symbology that you think of when you see this, really something that's apparent and unavoidable and attention grabbing for that matter, I think many of you are going to have something coming through over the next 3 or 4 weeks where you're going to be asked to stand up or stand out. Something where you might be asked to advocate for yourself, for someone else. That's really supported, in fact, when we look at the Justice card here in the crowning position. I like it because it's upright, and that's showing me that if there is something that's important to you, that you want to make change happen in, then you really have a capacity to do that. In fact, your outcome card is the Tower. So when we look at the crowning, showing you fighting for something, trying to change it, and then we see that change happening, don't underestimate your power this month. When we look in the hopes and the fears, we see the Hermit, and that's a direct opposition to the Peacock. So that's showing that you may decide that you're going to wait a little bit before you reveal or discuss or announce something. But when you do, there's a really big impact, and it's just as beautiful, or it's just as apparent as when that peacock sort of opens up all of those feathers and you have to kind of like have all eyes on you or that situation. So that's one thing that I'm getting with the card. The second thing that I'm seeing is that you want to pay very close attention to nonverbal cues, particularly your facial expressions and your body language. They are going to convey much more than your words. They can either enhance what you're saying or completely counteract and say something different. And you've seen this with people where they can't like have eye contact with you, or they pull back a little bit, or they're very confrontational, maybe getting into your space, or rolling of the eyes, things like this. Unless that's your desired intention, be careful and make sure that what you're saying is absolutely in tune with what you're feeling, because if not, it's going to show, and you want to be careful with that. By the way, the third thing that comes through with this is that this is kind of a card of courtship or libido. So this might be a month where you're more inclined to seek out partnerships. It would also be a great time to pay attention to your partner, because when I see that, it's literally about someone that's trying to get your attention, usually a guy, not always the case, but because of the illustration, because we're looking at all the colors on the male peacock, I'll say just be aware of that. You may have a suitor coming through this month, or someone in the sidelines that's interested, and you may not be paying attention. So keep an open mind. A lot of times you guys ask me, when is love coming through? This is showing someone in the periphery that might be trying to get your attention. And in fact, when I look at what's in your periphery, we have the King of Cups. So there could be someone that's shy or sensitive. This is a water sign. Could be someone creative as well. Usually lighter features, by the way, with this card. So we'll talk more about that when we look at love, and also when I get to the card itself. Just wanted to let you know there was a lot to unpack with that. Some great information coming through for you as well. So again, pay attention to your communication. Think of, if there is a moment in your life where you want to change something, how you can maximize that message and also that moment in time and space. And then also pay attention to what's around you. There's someone that wants or needs your attention, and there might be something that could open up a beautiful relationship, because King of Cups is a great person to have in your life. So we'll talk more about that when we get to it. All right, let's go now card by card in the spread and continue to unpackage some of the information for you this month, starting with the Page of Swords in reverse. Right in the center, this is showing that it feels like many of you are kind of coming into your own, where you want to be a little bit more direct this month, particularly since I see the Justice card right at the top here. The two of these together can also indicate someone like a Libra. And the thing that's interesting about this is that you want to be careful with communication with this person, either the individual that's coming through as Justice, or you perhaps as well, could be coming across a little too critically. Or again, as I said earlier, there could be something non-verbally that is going straight to that person and kind of pushing some buttons. So I think that you want to be as sensitive and as empathic as possible. And when we look in your environment, that's also the cue that we get with the King of Cups, is to try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You can still be direct, but you can then figure out like how to best choose your words. And there is a way that you can be kind and direct. And I think that's really the message when we look at those 2 or 3 cards. Over top of Page of Swords reversed, we have the High Priestess. This to me is the quintessential psychic connection card, showing me that many of you are getting really great downloads and intuition this month. Pay attention to it. Don't second guess it, because the Page of Swords in reverse can be a self-critical card just as much as it can be critical of someone else. The thing that I'm seeing with the combination of these is that some of you might have like direct downloads happening this month if you've been working on your intuition. And it could be a little off-putting, because I see this also connected to the moon in the near future, but it could also be really powerful. So you could be getting exactly what you need, sort of as far as who you can trust, when you should do this, how you should communicate it. So trust what you feel in your mind, body, and spirit, and don't kind of let the dialogue in your head pull you off course and make you think, maybe I'm imagining all of this. I see a lot of great cards here with Justice, the High Priestess, the Moon, all showing really strong intuition, really strong empowerment if you choose to embrace it. Looking at the deep past, I feel like many of you have been trying to strike a balance when it comes to your resources. I like the Six of Pentacles. I say many times that this is my sort of base card for being able to break even, to have exactly what you need. But with this card comes choices, difficult choices sometimes, and often the need to say no, to delegate, to push things aside for a little bit. You don't see it so much in this particular card, but traditionally with the Six of Pentacles, if you look at the Rider-Waite card, you will see someone holding the scales and also holding coins and deciding sort of how much to give to certain people. They don't give everything to everyone, or not all at the same time. So for you, the same message comes through, which is each and every day you may have a different prioritization. There should be like one overarching goal for the month, of course, but I think that in a given day, you might decide where to give and take a little bit. If you do that, the Six of Pentacles is basically communicating that you have exactly what you need, if not a little bit more than, and this is going to enable you to accomplish your goals. But if you go too far in one area, then things can kind of get messy. So you have to be really strong and really adherent, I would say, to any sort of budget that you have or any sort of limits that exist. Otherwise, just know that you have to take from one area and give to another, and eventually you're going to have to kind of balance that out. Okay. Looking at recent past, I think that this could be coming through because some of you might have a big investment to make this month. Knight of Pentacles can be a new job. It can also be a big purchase as well. It can be an announcement of money or, again, something that's due. So there will be something entering your financial sector this month that is going to create probably more abundance, but you will need to take a look at everything that you have borrowed from and anything that really needs your attention and make sure that it's all evened out. If you've been looking for work, this is a good indicator that a job could be coming through. If you're in an existing job, based on the connection that I see between this and the Tower, it could show restructuring, a transfer, a move, or some sort of a major shakeup where you're at. So pay attention to that, and I think because this Page of Swords was at the center, really speak up and ask some questions. This is a proactive card. So if you've been wanting a promotion, if you've been thinking about trying something new and you notice that change is starting to happen, don't wait too long to talk to that new manager. Don't wait too long to ask questions or put some things into your performance plans for the year ahead, because the sooner you do this, the better. And once it kind of gets cemented into a contract, this will give you the peace of mind of knowing that, hey, I'm taken care of, my voice has been heard, and now there's actually something that we can refer to in relation to that. Justice can also indicate that you might be signing, or I would actually say it's signing. Justice reverse is usually about dissolving a contract. So for some of you, you might be signing something new. Could be a marriage contract or a business contract. And if it is, by the way, a business contract, please, please, please listen to your intuition. And if there's anything in the small print, fine print, legal text that you don't understand, ask a question and speak up. That's what we're seeing there. And because I also see the Moon card connected to all of this, I would say if you don't trust somebody, you absolutely should take a moment to get some advice, sleep on it, have a second opinion, because this card is really encouraging you to go into the things that scare you or make you uncertain or nervous and bring them out into the light of day, get them all taken care of, and adjust the contract if you need to. Hire a good lawyer. That's why this is in the crowning position. Only do what feels right and really what is right for you and for those that you love. Let's talk a little bit more about the Moon card. It's in the near future, which is showing that for many of you, there could be some great creative energy that's coming through this month. Again, your intuition is going to strengthen. There's also fear or questioning that's associated with this card, particularly when it comes to loyalties. Who can I trust? What side of the fence are you on? And I think that this is really important with relationships. Of course for business, but especially for personal. And when it's appropriate, I bring in love and relationships. It is this month based on what I'm seeing. I think for many of you, intimacy needs to be sort of talked about, because I mentioned that there is an aspect of trying to get attention with this card or libido. And for some of you, this could be about what's going on in your love life. If you're with someone and either you don't see eye to eye or you just haven't connected, or have differing opinions on what is expected with intimacy, this is the month to kind of sort that out and think, is this something we can work past? Is this something, both sides really care about? So the more honest you are with the Moon card, the better the healing, the more you can work past it, and the more balance you're going to feel. The more you avoid it, the more it leads to this card. So honesty, transparency, and communication, absolutely essential. What I'm seeing here when I look at hopes and fears with the Hermit is that one side of the fence here of the partnership, it feels like the person is afraid and they tend to keep to themselves. I said earlier that nonverbal communication could be a tell or a giveaway for you, can also be for your partner. So if you can just sort of sense that something's wrong, find a way in a non-confrontational, as I said, direct but sensitive sort of way to let the partner know that you're there for them and just say, I love you. I feel like we need to chat a little bit. Let's make some time tonight. Let's have dinner. Let's talk things out. One thing you want to be careful of this month is jealousy. As I look at the Moon and I look at the King of Wands, the Hermit, and the Tower, I think some of you could be seeing things that may not be there. That's why I want the open communication to happen. It may be for a good reason, though, because when the Moon comes through, there can be trust issues. Sometimes people have sort of tricky relationship with the truth. Maybe they've just out and out lied about things, or there may have been in the past infidelity. And I think what you want to try to get to this month is just, is it something more than your imagination, or even the fact that you're still feeling this sense of, can I trust someone, is a big indicator of, do you have what's necessary for a really good relationship in the future, something with solid ground. And the Tower is showing you that many of you are going to have to look at that and rebuild upon it. All right, let's now take a look at the other aspects of your personality and information coming through this month, not simply looking at relationships. Starting with your ego, we have the King of Wands in reverse. This is saying that you have everything it takes this month to really manage things in your life. But there could be blinders on for some of you. And the important thing is that you want to stay open-hearted and open-minded this month. Sensitivity is key. We have the High Priestess, the Moon, and the King of Cups. Your heart is going to lead you into the right place, particularly when we're looking at business or school or big decisions in your life. You have to sort that out and follow it. Even if people around you don't understand that, it feels like you're being tugged in a direction there. And I think that's some of what I was feeling and seeing earlier. Your heart's taking you one way, people might be taking you another. This is your chance to sort of break through that and focus on what's important. Another message I'm seeing in the King of Cups is to seize an opportunity that you really want this month. Yes, it may be something that creates a big change in your life, a ripple effect, but I feel that for some of you, this is authentic and it will bring great joy for you. So if a change is about to happen, if you're going to say something, do something, or shift some big part of your life, but it feels great and you can't wait, then don't worry about it. You're doing the right thing. Change is just part of living, and I really want you to be authentic and trust yourself this month, because High Priestess, Moon, King of Cups, I feel like you already know on an intuitive and really a heart and soul level what you need to do this month. So just allow for that to happen. And the more honest you are, the more direct you are, the more people are going to see that this is what was right for you. We actually have a lot of complementary cards because both Justice and the Six of Pentacles are all about balance. So I feel like this is the month for many of you to create a balance that didn't exist. Whether it's in finances, whether it's in love, or whether it's in creativity, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a chance to bring something that makes you happy and really feel more like yourself. It looks like many of you have an inclination this month to hold back, and you might also be working with a person in your life, in a relationship or at work as well, where they want to hold back. Be as open as you can without breaking any rules or regulations, because this Hermit card can also indicate non-disclosures, especially since we see Justice. So if there's some sort of a legal binding contract where you can't talk about something, obviously you want to be careful about that. But if we're just talking about barriers in communication, I don't think there's going to be anything that will hurt you simply by being honest. I will say this, however you began this month, you're going to end it feeling completely differently, and your life is going to look a little bit different because we have the Tower this month. So the Tower allows you to reconstruct, to create firmer and stronger foundations. A lot of times people are scared when they see the Tower. Yes, it conveys change, but I think it conveys necessary change. And for you, the Tower's in the outcome, the future. So that means you have a lot of time to decide how that Tower is going to look for you. And a Tower could just simply be home improvements. It could be a move. It could be taking care of your health and, trying to have a better sort of approach towards how you're treating yourself and others. It can just be this really proactive and healthy shift in your life. I think if you adhere to what I said earlier, being honest, trying not to go too far down a path of thinking in your head without having all of the evidentiary support with that, then you're going to be okay. Don't jump to conclusions. Instead, follow through, follow your heart, be open, be communicative, take an opportunity if it feels good. And yes, there'll be change that happens with that, but change is important, change is necessary, change allows you to grow, okay? So good luck with all of those shifts. Let's go ahead now and look at an expanded forecast here, and it's going to yield a little bit more light on everything that we talked about. I always like to begin with health. Health is an all-inclusive card. It's how you feel in your body, what's going on emotionally and also in your mind, and then also spiritually, what is affecting how you're reacting to all of this. So let's give the cards a shuffle, and we'll see what the message is for health this month. Your message in health this month is all about being able to express yourself. We have the second chakra card and it is reversed. And the second chakra is where you hold your sexual energy, your creative energy, and also where you kind of allow yourself to express yourself in general. Let's focus first on that intimacy or sexual connection with others. I mentioned with the Peacock Catalyst card that many of you may be experiencing either heightened libido or issues of intimacy could be coming through, where you or your partner need to communicate honestly and realistically about what it is you want and what you desire. That's also what the Moon card can show. The Moon card can also be an indicator when combined with this second chakra card of wanting to start a family. However, the fact that we see both Justice and the Tower is showing that for some of you, you may be at odds with what your partner wants. And it's better to get this out sooner than later so that both of you can figure out if you really want to continue. This is also a way of discussing who you are and what you want in your life. So it could be, for some of you, even a coming out. Perhaps you want to try something new when it comes to dating, or you're coming to terms with your own sexuality. And I think there's an important component with this, because we've been talking time and again about transparency, to make sure that you share that with ones that you love. So set it up in a way where you say something like, "You mean the world to me. I've come to terms with something and I really want to share it with you because I think that could bring us closer, and I really want to have you in my life and be supportive of this, so I'm excited to share it with you." And that's a great way to kind of bring something like that out in the open. But I think the first thing is just about allowing yourself for that exploration, whatever that is. The third thing that I would say here is to just have some fun this month. Make time to do hobbies that really make your heart sing, explore something new in the world or in your life. And by doing this, you're going to be more productive, more fulfilled. And for many of you, there's just great creative expression that wants to come through this month. Singing, dance, art, writing, all of these things are expressions of that second chakra. So don't be afraid to show different sides of yourself, to be honest with what's coming through. And by being seen and by being truly understood for who you are, what you want, what you desire, then all of a sudden you're setting up healthier relationships and a healthier life. And that brings us back to the main focus of this, which is health. Even though we really got into sort of emotions and relationships, it'll be interesting in a moment to see if there's a little bit of bleed over, and we'll see that. I do want to hit on one more thing, which is what can happen if you're blocked in that area. For some of you, you could be holding tension in your hips. A lot of times thighs and hips, you can hold on to emotional tension, or even you could just be feeling a little bit of a buildup of energy in that space. The other thing is that it could even kind of migrate into some of the sexual organs there as well. So if you haven't had a checkup, or if you're having any sort of problems with your urinary tract or trying to conceive, see if you can't get some help from the doctor. And then also look at it from a spiritual perspective as well. Are you kind of holding energy in? So you really need to have an all-inclusive kind of look at this, mind, body, and spirit, as I say with this card. It's not just what's going on in your body, it's what's causing that, and what can you do in your life to kind of help create healthier habits. So work with a doctor, work with yourself, work with a psychologist if you need to. Bring everything into focus and really feel your joy and your power this month, and allow for that second chakra to sing. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at wealth. And within the wealth sector, we're going to be looking at not just money, but also how you're either pulling the opportunities towards you or pushing them away. So let's see what the cards have to say. So there's a very interesting component to wealth this month. It's self-worth and also love. We have here, love yourself. But it's also about doing what's best for yourself. And this may put you at odds with your family, with your coworkers, with others in your life, because this month, maybe for the first time in a while for some of you, you're deciding, I need to do this so that I am happy, so I'm healthy, and ultimately because of those two things, you will be successful. But I do see that for some of you, there is a shift. And that self-love may mean that you have to stand up for yourself or take a stand. As I said earlier, there is that big standout moment or step up moment for many of you. So at the end of the day, if you are happy, if you feel that you are being respected and that you love what you're doing, then you're exactly where you need to be. And if not, some changes have to happen this month. And most importantly, we were talking all about that second chakra, and it's coming through in work. So when you can heal what's going on with your expression, with your creativity, with your intimacy, then it's going to benefit you, particularly here in work, because you're going to show up as more confident, more solid, more expressive, more emotive. And ultimately, I believe that's going to be a very good thing. Let's go ahead and review 2 earlier notes that I mentioned about money, starting with the 6 of Pentacles. This is about bringing balance to things and doing fewer things, but doing them better. We mentioned earlier about redirecting and focusing. I do feel like many of you will have a new opportunity coming through, but it's a change-making opportunity that might require a transfer, a move. And this is something where at the end of the day, if it feels right, it probably is. If it feels too disruptive, you should honor that as well, because you're getting some great information in the way of intuitive downloads this month. All right, moving along from wealth, let's now look at love and relationships and see if there's some additional insight on how you can better relate to people in your life. This month, it's all about showing up, being as optimistic as you can, and putting in the work that you can to make things change. It says, make the effort. Great love is worth taking these steps that you're guided to take. And yes, we may have some change that's going to happen this month. The Tower shows that you're not afraid to sort of get into something and clean it up. But your crowning card shows that there is an era of fairness, of equity, and I think that if you can meet your partner at that halfway point, then great things are possible. If for some reason they're unwilling or unready to meet you at that halfway point, then you also have the clarity that you need to move forward. Making the effort can also simply mean that for those of you that are single and looking, that this is a great time for you to get out there. I mentioned that for many of you, someone in the periphery may be trying to get your attention. If you're the person that's trying to get someone else's attention, then this card is saying, just speak up. Be like what we saw here at the center of the Page of Swords and take a leap of faith, because your intuition is probably spot on and you'll know if this person is going to gel with you or not. The other thing here, if you're single and happy, this is about redirecting that passion into something else this month, into a project, into a job, into some sort of activity, and also making time for yourself and doing something fun, as we mentioned, because that's really important, is to, for many of you, just make time for play, for enjoyment, for rest and relaxation as well. This is going to help you be there more for others, especially for those of you that are caretakers. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, okay? Let's move along now to the final card in the expanded forecast. This is what I call Destiny, and the Destiny card is not set in stone. It's more of a GPS that is going to kind of allow you to continue on that path if you like it, or make some necessary course corrections if that's the case as well. So without any additional delay, let's look at the cards and we'll see what's coming through this month. Your destiny message this month is reversed. I want to read it upright so that we can easily kind of understand what it says. It says, the person that you're asking about is trustworthy. So in the upright position, that would be an affirmative quality saying, hey, this is okay, you can proceed with it. With the card being reversed and also seeing something like the moon here in the near future, for some of you, this is a chance for you to really think, am I willing to take a risk with this person again? Because there might have been someone who just didn't always have a good kind of relationship with the truth. They might have said something that was false. There might have been some gossip. If that happened before, then for some of you, this is a chance to stand up for yourself, to try to kind of set parameters of what's fair, what's acceptable, and hopefully to shift things into a better tomorrow, a better future. But with Justice in the Tower, there could also be a need to simply walk away from that, because at the end of the day, this is really about doing what's best for you, what's healthiest for you, and that might be removing some sort of toxic environment or toxic relationship. On a slightly different note, if you connect this with the job opportunity, it actually portends good things, but it just shows that there is a shift that's coming through. So maybe a transfer, or that you have to maybe move to a different place so that you're closer to work. And if that's the case, then again, I'm getting a good connection between these two things. So don't be afraid to take a risk if it's for expansion or growth. But when it comes to relationships, if there's been a history of someone not telling the truth, then this is a month to really put that to the test and say either this stops now, or if you don't feel good with it, then you just decide to move onward and upward towards other things. This is a great place now to go ahead and review everything that we talked about, and then after that, I'll leave you with a closing word. Your channeled message this month was about making some smart choices, redirecting your energy, focusing on what matters, and knowing that when you do that, you're honoring the message here that we saw in the deep past, which was you have more than enough. You just have to have some really good limits. And by choosing one or two things that you can do well, not only are you going to be more successful, but more importantly, you're going to be happier and healthier in the process. The next message came through as the catalyst, which was the Peacock this month. And the Peacock is anything but subtle. So that means for many of you, there's going to be a chance to stand out, to stand up. Potentially for some of you, this could also be a chance for you to fight for something that really matters. And if you're trying to do that, as we see with the tower here, you can make some great changes happen. Now, the Peacock can also be about expressing yourself. And for some of you, this could come through in intimacy. And when we see the King of Cups and the Moon card side by side, this is about overcoming fears, about really speaking from the heart and letting people know what it is that you want, what it is that you desire. When we go through the moon and really talk about those difficult things, we can avoid or we can significantly affect the outcome of the tower. So you have more power than you think this month, but it does come through that honesty, transparency, and for some of you, that vulnerability, knowing that that really is how you can open up to somebody else. The Page of Swords in the center, in the reverse state, is really a reminder for you not to be overly critical of yourself or of others. It also is just a great card to remind you to be outspoken. When and if you decide to choose your moment to speak up or speak out, use empathy, use that passion to engage people and make a more powerful message. The High Priestess here in the middle is showing that a lot of you are already being led on really what you need to be doing, but for some of you, you might be overthinking that. So just don't let the King of Wands here in reverse take you off a path that you know you need to go on. We already talked about Six of Pentacles. It's showing that you have enough resources, but there are some tough decisions that you have to make. That means saying no. That means sometimes pushing back. And as we've talked about just a moment ago, really focusing on what you care about and what your heart is pulling you into. Knight of Pentacles, new work for some of you. That new work, however, could carry with it a transfer opportunity or a need for you to move. It could be something that is very transitional for you, so just be prepared. There could also be a big purchase coming underway as well. Just make sure that you're not overextending yourself. That's why the tower's there as well. Justice in the crowning position. There's decisions that need to be made this month. For some of you, it's financial. For some of you, it's about a relationship or perhaps starting a family. Whatever it is, you have to do what feels right to you. Speak with truth, be honest, and be direct. The Moon card, creativity. For many of you, it can also be a discussion around fertility or fears. These aren't always easy things to talk about, but they're important things. And the other thing for many of you that came through was trust, and that actually was echoed again in the outcome. If you're with people in your life, whether it's work, financial, or in your relationships, and you can't get past that trust barrier, then you don't have the foundation that you need. The other thing that I saw with this was trusting yourself and taking a leap of faith if it's something that you truly believe in. In that case, it's totally worth it. The King of Wands here in reverse, try to keep an open mind this month, especially when the change is coming through or when someone's presenting a different point of view. The other thing with this is that if there are people in your life that seem to need a hand, make sure that they ask for it before you offer your help, or that you try to ease into that, because sometimes the King of Wands can come across a little bit too strong or a little bit too aggressive. So you want to back off a little bit and let other people come to you. The King of Cups here in the environment is showing, again, great expressive energy, great intimacy that's possible this month once you work through some of the energy of the moon. Can also indicate a Scorpio coming into your life. With the Hermit card, this is about secrets and also about kind of taking some time to yourself. So if it's rest and relaxation, that's fine. But if there are secrets that are being kept, this could be a destructive force for a relationship. And with the Tower, this is really saying it's time for you to break through some of those walls that you may have built for protection. They're no longer necessary, and in fact, they may not be serving the highest purpose for a relationship. We talked at great length earlier also about the second chakra. Again, this can be where you express your creativity, your sexual or sensual side, and it can also just be making room for fun and enjoyment in your life. We see the King of Cups here in the environment, so this is a month to try to let your hair down and have some fun. As we look now at wealth, it's interesting that a message about love comes through, but it's really one that resonates more with the idea of self-worth. If you love yourself and love what you're doing, you're actually going to be very successful and you're going to draw the right kind of people in. If you have insecurity issues, this is when you can actually call in this King of Wands in reverse, someone who tells you what to do or doesn't believe in your ideas. So love yourself, trust yourself, and believe that you have something worth bringing to the plate, because I see that here with the Knight of Pentacles. Now, as we look at your relationship card here, love, even though we just talked about love in the wealth sector, it's saying that this is about meeting one another 50-50, making the effort. If both partners are coming through, the work is going to be really transformative, and you might be able to overcome some fears and frustrations. If your partner won't do that, that could indicate that this isn't the month for you to put energy into relationships, or it might be time to walk away from that. For the rest of you, if you're trying to create more fun in your life or meet new people, this is also showing that it's well worth that effort. And as we see here, that could be a King of Cups or a Scorpio coming through for you. Finally, and most importantly, you have to trust yourself, you have to trust others. If trust is missing, then it's impossible for you to really have a firm foundation for anything. So work on all issues around trust and self-love this month, knowing that that's going to really help heal any of the issues that we saw here. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but I hope it gave you everything that you need to travel through both the high points and also the challenges this month. If there's ever something that comes through where you feel like you'd like to talk a little bit, it could be a big decision or something that came to you kind of like a curveball, then I'm happy to talk to you actually. You can click on the first card or the first link below the video, and this will take you to a booking site where you can look at my rates and availability. If that makes sense for you, then I look forward to talking to you. If you would simply like to say thank you for the work that I've been doing here, or if you'd like to make the next round of videos possible, you can click on the second card or the second link below the video. This will take you to a special part of my website that outlines how you can become a patron. For some of you, this could just mean doing a one-time contribution as little as $1, while others of you might choose to join me on Patreon or click the join button to become a member of this channel. No matter what you decide to do, I just want to say thank you, because it's with your help, with your love and your support that I can continue to come back here every month. So I appreciate you. Finally, if you haven't already done so, I would love for you to like and subscribe here. It really helps show YouTube and also me that this is a channel that makes a difference. And if you want to go a step further, click on the third card and the third link. This is going to connect you to all of my social media sites. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a newsletter, and this is a great way to stay in touch with me. If you would like to share this on your social media feeds, I absolutely encourage that, because it helps me reach new people. And it also helps me accomplish a goal, which is to spread more light on this planet. I'm trying to raise consciousness and have really smart conversations about spirituality. So the more people that I can engage in this type of dialogue, the better. And I just want to say I appreciate you for doing that. Let's now leave with your closing word. As I look at all of the cards in front of me, I keep taking a look at the change-making card here, the Tower. And I'd like to kind of demystify this a little bit. It isn't always a bad thing. A lot of times the Tower is about reconstruction, about rebuilding, about starting something from a fresh page, getting rid of all the old. And I think that's really what you have a chance to do this month. I saw a little of this when we looked at that message about being redirected, and I could feel energetically as if you were being pulled onto a new path. I think for you this month, if you follow your heart and you follow that sort of inspiration and intuition that seems to be coming through, you're going to make the right choice. And for many of you, this is an opportunity to really shine. This, to me, reminds me also of the Star card. When you're ready and willing to be your true, authentic self, there's no reason you can't share that with the world. So I hope that you can shine like the peacock this month and show your true colors, to stand up for something that matters for you and really make the changes that you need and have a nice, firm foundation for the future. All right, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey. You have so many choices here on YouTube, but also in life as well. So the fact that we spent the last 40 minutes or so together, it means the world. Wishing you love, light, and happiness now and always. I'll see you again in 1 month's time. Until then, be kind to yourself and be kind to others as well. Goodbye.